y'all, Pi here, and today we are playing Our Life. There's a subtitle to it that I don't remember off the top of my head, and it's not on the screen, so it's not important. Anyway, this is a visual novel, as you might be able to tell from the start screen. And I have yet to even start up the game, so let's see where this takes us. That's cute, I like that. Welcome to Our Life, Beginnings and Always. That's the title. There you go. Cool. There are various ways you can customize and interact with the game. This tutorial is an overview of how certain features work. Okay, so it's not just a standard VN? You can read the full tutorial from the main menu to learn about everything in detail. Maybe I should do that off camera. To start off, the game is divided into 3 time periods called steps. Step 1, childhood. Step 2, adolescence. And Step 3, teenaged. Our life is further divided into sets of vignettes that take place during specific periods of time. Those are called moments. Moments can be played in any order or skipped entirely. You move on to the next step whenever you want by selecting that summer is ending. Interesting. Steps 1 through 3 include 5 moments each, and even more can be unlocked by purchasing DLCs. Some are out now, and other DLCs will be released later on. Spoiler alerts, I have not purchased the DLCs. A lot happens over the years that go by, especially in regard to the character you play as. You determine nearly everything about the main character: name, appearance, personality, pronouns, interests, skills, their relationship with major characters, and so on. You can decide to change the details as time goes on, with a few exceptions. Your last name, skin tone, and eye color can't be altered once set. Makes sense. Much of the MC's basic traits are determined on a character creation sheet. As the MC grows up, more options become available on the screen. As mentioned, one of the decisions you'll get to make for your character is selecting a name. You can type in any name you like, or you can pick a preset name. Preset options are called voice names because the name will be voiced aloud by the romantic lead. You'll get to hear him say your name as you play through the story. Ooh. Only the default name, Jamie, is included in the base game. Hundreds more can be added by getting a free voiced name expansion DLC, which I do have. If you're not interested in that feature, you don't need to add the name collection to your game file. Each name in the DLC belongs to, or was selected by, someone who supported this project. Lastly, you can change the spelling of a name after selecting the voice option you want, for example, going from gray to gray. On the character creation sheet, there's a cute doll you can decorate to get an idea of what your MC looks like with different traits you put together. Not all the things you decide about the MC appear on the doll. The script referencing what you've decided for the MC is the main way those decisions influence the game. Our Life has a first-person perspective, so your character doesn't appear next to other character sprites. You only see the MC as the decorative doll on the character creation sheets. Interesting. There's also a second type of special MC-based screen, the Interest Comfort screen. Unless you get DLCs, the game has one love interest, Cove Holden. He grows up with the MC, and the Interest Comfort screen is crucial for determining how that plays out. Interest levels set how much you like him. There are 4 levels: Disinterest, Fond, Crush, and Love. Love is only available by starting in Step 3, and if you were at Fond or Crush in Step 2. Makes sense. Comfort determines how you generally think when it comes to him. There are 3 levels: nervous, relaxed, and direct. Your level of interest and comfort will set the type of dynamic your character has with the love interest. What you did in the past will influence the present, and the feelings can change over time. So this is pretty involved. You get to pick your interest or comfort near the beginning of every step. Comfort can switch between the 3 levels as you please. Your interest level can only stay the same or increase. Fair enough. Your current level of interest will become the new lowest option on the screen in the future. For example, if you decide to be fond in Step 1, disinterest will be gone from the screen in Step 2 and 3, which will make fond the bottom level option for your relationship. Interest level has an impact when it comes to physically interacting with Cove. While growing up, things are rather simple. If you get along with one another and have a close relationship, you can choose to touch him, and Cove will occasionally interact with the MC in lighthearted or comforting ways. But starting in Step 3, touching can become more romantic or suggestive if you're at crush or love. Ooh. To make sure things go nicely with that, there will be an extra choice to determine initiative level, and a bonus mini-tutorial that goes along with the choice to explain the feature in more detail. Basically, even if you decide you like Cove, the game won't force you to act on those feelings. You can always choose not to get together with him, choose not to accept or give romantic gestures, etc. If you decide to date Cove, though, you can't break up with him later. Not realistic. Interest comfort gets the basics down, but it's the choices that appear throughout the normal game events that decide what actually happens between the MC and Cove. As it isn't only the MC who is impacted by your decisions, Cove grows and changes over the years. How he's treated and what he experiences helps shape who he becomes. In Step 2 and Step 3, Cove's personality, appearance, and interest will vary based on what happened in the previous step. And it's something of a mystery exactly how your decisions ended up changing him. You can try to guess as you go along. Or, if you prefer, you can also just design your own ideal Cove directly using the Cove Creator option that pops up at the beginning of Step 2 and 3. Where's the fun in that? Making the choices you want is always more important than making a choice because you feel like you have to in order to get a certain result. When a choice does appear, usually you'll see that hovering the cursor over an option shows a certain color, yellow, blue, or green. The colors aren't related to specific points or effects. They're only there to give a bit of insight on the tone, emotion of the choice, since text alone can potentially be read in more than one way. Blue tends to be casual, straightforward, yellow more emotive, reactive, and green less certain, uncommitted. Though there are hundreds of options in our life, and not every choice menu falls in line with that pattern. Picking just one color every time doesn't give a gameplay benefit, only stick to a certain type if that's what you happen to like, otherwise switch between them freely. Always pick yellow, never pick yellow, pursue romance right from the start, never romance the love interest, be disagreeable or amiable, none of them will lead to a bad ending. You're welcome to enjoy the events and shape the story without reservation, and then, if you like, you can play again to try something new. There's only ever more good content to discover. We hope you'll have a nice time with our life. Thank you for playing. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Character creation screen. Yeah. I won't be chubby. He shines like the sun. We'll leave it at 10. I don't know about these eyes. I don't know, I kind of like that one. I color beige. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It's a little too much. Where are the natural colors? Okay, that's it then. Give him brown eyes. Front hair. Most of this is probably going to get cut out in the interest of making a watchable video. there's a lot of there's a lot of options. Ta-da! We have Joy Jones, because I am creative. Let's continue. Oh, there's more. Oh no, there's more. Give me a minute. Alright, I think I'm done now. Just so you guys can kind of glance at what my settings are. If you want to recreate Joy Jones for yourself. Just a brief overview, not getting too deep into this, not gonna go over every single option and why I selected it. Let's go. Let's play the main game. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle, blah 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 blah. It was a popular tourist destination with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. Yeah! I remember summer vacation. I miss it. During the summer, your moms didn't like to wander too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked how your family was, or most often just said hello. You ended up saying hi to a lot of different people, since most of the tourists that came and went every summer were the same ones. You enjoyed learning all about where they were visiting from and hoped to visit those places one day too. But today, there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whoever or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your moms called it. So, for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your moms had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you even if you don't know them. You weren't sure about this man yet. But you were pretty interested. You wanted to know more about what was going on. You slowed down, your eyes remaining fixed on the man. There was a split second where your eyes met, and you knew he was aware he wasn't alone on the street anymore. Hey! You raised your eyebrows at the shout. Did he want something? Is that why he was here? The man stood up and started to make his way towards you. Oh no. Still unsure about him, but willing to be friendly, you offered the stranger a smile. The man gives you a grin of his own back. Do you live around here? What's your name? You looked the man up and down, taking in his tanned skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed, the way he was acting wasn't. He had a shark on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. Yeah, I live here. That's great. He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. Oh. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him.
Well...
Was that a voice line? Well, could you do me a favor? Nothing bad. Sorry, I should have... Let me start over. Yeah, you kinda present as an unsavory character, sir. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. Yeah. I have a son. His name is Cove, who's about your age. Oh, okay. That first one. Cove. That seemed like a strange name for an actual living person to you. But definitely the kind of name someone like this guy would give their kid. Cove's dad. We moved in across the street, see? He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic "For Sale" sign was finally gone. You must be Joy Jones, right? I met your moms earlier, and they told me you were 8, just like him, so... He shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corners. Can you try to be friends with the boy? This is how friendship works. Just give it a chance, and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him.
Do you mind?
But you gotta keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. Did other kids really get their parents to pay for friendships? Had your moms done that for you and Lizzie? The thought made you frown. What do you say? Want to make a deal? You didn't want the money. No thank you, sorry. You deflated enough to notice, but not completely.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? It won't be so bad. Even if it's just for the summer, that'd be enough. That only made this sound more strange to you. Why does it lasting for the summer matter? When it was clear his initial strategy wasn't going to fly, he tucked the bill back into a back pocket and changed the request. I get it, you don't have to. Would you be comfortable with he and I coming by for normal visits? No money involved. You'd have to ask my mom's. Responsible response. His eyes got bigger again. His eyes crinkled at the sides. I think that's a smile. Whatever. Of course, they invited us over earlier, but I'd like to ask you too. Then I guess you can. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I wanted him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but... well, I don't know where he's gotten off to. He laughed when he said that, but with the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. Yes, nothing more terrifying for a parent than not knowing where the child is. If you see him, can you tell him to come home? He's got a pink cast and glasses. You can't miss it. Okay. This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that, but you were still going to help. The man smiled and reached out to pat you on the head, paused before doing so, then pulled his hand away instead. Your mom's already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are. Now I better look too. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here. I thought he might come back and... that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again, Joy, so much. You jogged off down the street without another word. You decided to check the hills behind your house. Bad child. Step 1. First sight. The chirping of crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. From the top of the hill you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of the waves on the shore and the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. You love to hear stories about the sea, and about the merfolk and the sea serpents you imagine living far beneath the waves. Sometimes you could almost convince yourself you had seen the flash of a shiny mermaid's tail in the distance. You took a deep breath. You wanted to try to relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. Oh, hello. There was a boy sitting at the top of the hill, almost completely hidden with the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you found a deer in the wild. Though deer didn't have pink casts. But this new boy did. You wondered how he got it. After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another. And then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Are you lost? With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his side. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He had been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks, and his knees soaking the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You'd obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight, though when he caught you staring at it, he had his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier had said struck out to you. Cove? Ah. Eyes wide, he studied you. How'd you know that? I'm all-knowing. That's a lie. Tell the truth. Aw. Okay, your dad told me who you were. Aww. So, is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. You can't own a hill. Why not? How could you? You just do. I had a hill back home. Well, this still isn't mine. Oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers, too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they'd never stopped, his tears started up again with a vengeance. Aw, baby, don't cry. My parents... they don't want to live together with me anymore. No, baby, no! The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark dark lashes. No! My mom made my dad leave, and he took me with him, and now we have a house here, and I want to go home. Aww. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. I'm sorry. He slipped his hands underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. You felt bad for him being forced to come here with no choice. You couldn't imagine what it would feel like to live with only one of your moms, but it must be pretty hard. But from way off in the distance, you heard your parents. Joy! Cove! Oh, sorry. Kids, where'd you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here.
I want to go home.
I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home. It will be okay. You were struck by a sudden need to reassure Cove. It's not gonna all be fun, but isn't he your family too? Yeah, I guess. Then you can count on him when you really, really need him. You shot him a grin and pushed yourself to your feet. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove, can you hear me? He looked towards the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not bandaged arm. Sorry, I still don't want to go. You tried to convince him. Are you sure? You'd have to stay outside the whole night and sleep on wet grass. Before Cove could say anything else, you heard his dad's voice again, even closer than before. There you are, bud! The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all of their eyes landed on you, and they rushed over. Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Joy, you're here after all. We had been at the park to check for Cove and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. We're okay, don't worry. Thank God you're both fine. Were you two having fun out here? You looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. I think I'm gonna marry him. Yes, I like him. You nodded, smiling slightly. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you.
That's a relief.
Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood. Good thing Joy knows the whole area so well. Absolutely. We should get going. We should be getting home now. It's been a long day for all of us. Say goodbye, Cove. Aww. The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading toward the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper play date tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? Sure. Can I show him my stuff?
Of course.
Yay. Then okay. Both of your moms laughed, the sounds overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. Mommy put her arm around your shoulder and led you towards the path. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Cool. Nervous indifference, apparently. Oh, hello. Oh, okay, I can slide that around. Whoop. I don't know, I imagine Joy is just like a very friendly, outgoing person. Yeah. Won't be able to change it again until step 2. Yes. At the breakfast table the next morning, you finished your food faster than usual. Your sister, Lizzie, had run out earlier to go play, but you stayed put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Oh, that's a big smile. Excited to see your new friend again, Joy? Yeah, I am.
How sweet.
How sweet. I'm so happy you moved in.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Yeah. With all the exasperation of an 8-year-old can muster, you look at your empty cereal bowl, then at Mom.
Okay.
Okay, attitude kid, we see. Good job, he should be here soon. Cleanup began, and then, on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud, though. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Joy, could you get it? Wiggling out of your chair without really pushing it back, you made your way to the door. Hey, Jones family, thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright light of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. Oh, excuse me. With his dad standing in front of him and Mom and Mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. Excuse me. Pleased to see your new friend again, you smiled at Cove. He smiled back with some hesitation. Let's go play in my room. Okay. Aww. I love the cute little voice. Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids.
See you.
See you later, son. Play nice. You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, and a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. Aw. Thank you. You're welcome. You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he'd noticed. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the wall. You hoped he liked your room. You had put a lot of effort into making your room as nice as it was. You hoped he didn't say anything bad about it. Then his eyes landed on the tiny box of beach things you'd collected tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. You think so? Yeah, see? I think so. Reading is hard. You gestured to a piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand. Neat. This is a good collection. You got the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice, or to be like Shiloh. He actually meant it. Who's Shiloh? Oh right. I almost forgot. Shiloh's gonna be here today. Oh, another friend. Shiloh? Lizzie's friend, or like, her #1 fan, I guess? Oh no. Do I have to see him? Whoa, okay, that's a lot of hostility. It should be okay. I mean, he's Lizzie's friend, not mine, but you know. Come on, check out my shells some more. I found this one under a big piece of seaweed that had washed ashore, and you pulled out seashell after seashell, explaining where you'd gotten each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. The collection was so huge and varied that you'd had lots of funny stories to tell for all of them. Apparently fascinated either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like the full force of his attention. Like when you almost got pinched by a hermit crab while searching for shells after watching him scuttle back into the ocean, you found another empty shell that was almost a twin to his home. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus. But Cove hadn't been mean to you, so you didn't mind. You smiled at him every now and then while showing him your collection. "Kids, come down to the living room." You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that a parent made it happen. I mean, fair enough. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was a part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. Blah, 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 blah. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them. Great. Bust it open. We can keep looking while we wait for Shiloh. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh. Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet. What? Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one is the best of them. You can take it. Cove looked at you in surprise, his eyes going wide. Really? Sure, you like it a lot, right? Uh-huh, but I don't want to take it away from you. It's okay. You got the impression he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well. You insisted. No, it's okay for you. You pushed the shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present, but Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now. Maybe you could give it to him another time. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped up, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell he was thinking what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. You'll be alright. He's here. We can't tell him to leave. He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked onto the back of the house. I can go out the window. Resourceful child. He was already walking towards— No! Cove, don't do it! You've already run away once. Don't do it again. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. Shiloh is the least scary person alive. Every single bunny rabbit is scarier than Shiloh. But I don't want to see him. I don't know him. You comforted him. It's okay if you're worried. Nobody warned you this was gonna happen. Thanks. Shiloh poked his head into the living room. It was impossible to know for sure if he'd heard what she'd been saying or not, but you guessed that he had.
Hi.
Hi, Joy. Aw, that's adorable! What a cute creature. And, hi, Cove? Cove shot you an uneasy glance.
Hi.
Aww. I'm Shiloh. Nice to meet you. Yeah. You have a lot of freckles. Right, I do. What are you guys doing? We're looking at shells.
Can I do it too?
That's such a cute voice! I'm sorry. Cove shrugged and looked back at your box of beach findings. What about that one? The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach things some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. Hey, check out this scallop shell I found. Cool, right? It's pretty cool. It's a pretty color. Blah, blah, blah. Kinda like my cast. The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm. Pink is a nice color. Oh, that was Shiloh. Oops. Okay. What? That was not the correct response, Cove. Is it your favorite? Not really. What is? Maybe green? Or blue? Might be yellow. Very decisive child. Oh, those are all cool.
I guess.
Aww. I like those colors too.
Awesome.
Both of them smiled. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either. Is Lizzie coming back? I don't know.
Aw.
Aww. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing at her park? Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of the park, and he looked towards you.
Ah.
There's a park? Yep, but it's old. Can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before you had even answered, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Really? You do too, right, Joy? The park is fun. No. The park is pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right at the beach, so there's lots of fun and stuff to do, and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it could be cool. So, are we going to find Lizzie? I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just want to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turns to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie. Her face lit up when she saw you. Blah, 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 blah. When she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Joy! Shiloh! Hi! She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you and abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just the three of you, but now Cove was here. You wondered if he would leave too. Who's that? It's Cove. He's new.
Hi.
I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestures widely with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. Without interrupting Lizzie's speech, Cove whispers in your ear, quiet enough that the others wouldn't overhear. I thought kids couldn't own places like parks or hills. You couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes through the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I am. Who else would handle the job? Lizzie is the oldest. Somebody have a little crush on Lizzie. By a lot. My mom said you're Joy's age.
Yeah.
Thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. How old is she? What about other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Shiloh is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is a land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth. Aww. For a second, it looked like he might cry again. No! But something in his eyes shifted, and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything. You know, you're a smart kid, Cove. Only some of them don't like kids. You interjected quickly, hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far. Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Aww. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there too. He went into his own head. Aww. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and Joy in school. Oh, excuse me. You'll see tons of kids there once summer's over. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Shiloh looked down to the dirt. He hasn't had much luck stirring up conversation with Cove. I like summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort, at how weird she thought Cove was, at something else entirely. You didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up.
Okay.
Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. You offered him a small smile, and that, at least, looked to reassure him some. Aw. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days, when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way the sun and lunch and the beach were. During your first summer together, you really liked Cove. He was a fun person to play with, and he seemed to like playing with you too. Of course, that was only the start of things. Neat. Okay, so I'm actually going to save it there, because I have run overtime, I'm pretty sure. And we will pick up again next time with one of these moments. And I think probably we'll just do it in order, since that seems like the most logical order to do it in. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks.